Here we go. There we are. There we go. Cool. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Morning. Good.
Yeah,
Good, Kev. Good to see you.
yeah, likewise. Likewise. So, wow, what has been going on in your world? You guys are moving so ridiculously fast between acquisitions and I see you everywhere. What are you not doing these days?
Well, my wife would say I'm not home enough, so that's one thing that I'm not doing. I need to be doing more of, absolutely. But in the in the travel for sure, staying busy. Yeah, we're growing. We're having fun. That's the biggest key. Is we're having a good time. W- Growth is fun. Figuring out the different challenges is that growth brings is fun. It's like when you fix the sales issue, that creates a service delivery issue.
Mm-hmm.
And did my camera just stop again?
I think it did.
Oh gosh. Let me
Yeah.
can uh,
Yeah,
are,
we can edit it. We can edit. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and restart.
let me yeah, sorry about that. That's
That's all right.
bizarre. I don't know what the deal is. Let me try going into Firefox instead of Chrome
Go for it.
because I know it doesn't work in Safari.
Yep, that's all right. I'll keep the viewers entertained while you're switching.
Good thing this
Um,
isn't live, right?
well, we're live.
Oh,
That's
we are
good.
live.
Yeah, check that
We are
out.
live. Didn't realize we were live. Okay, let me
Yeah,
switch. Let me switch. My
go ahead.
apologies here.
But for those that don't know, I'm speaking with Kevin Damghani, the founder of IT Partners Plus. They are a leading managed service provider and based out of the great state of Michigan. Under his leadership, they operate now in 39 states. They've been recognized 4 times as a Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies in America. They've been on that list. I've been on that a couple times. I don't know, 4 times, maybe 3 times. But yeah, not as accomplished as this Kevin. Here, let me bring him back on.
There we go. Sorry
There
about
we
that.
go. Oh, good. I was singing your praises, right? Yeah, saying you guys operate in 39 states. You guys have been moving fast. You've acquired, so you got this kind of great mix of organic and inorganic growth. And what's awesome is that you speak all over the place. Saying like literally, you're all over the place, and you've had the privilege of interviewing, I guess, Vanderchuck, Gary V, and Robert Herjavec, famous of Shark Tank. So yeah, you're an international man of amazingness, I guess. Not
I'm glad
mysterious.
you didn't say. Yeah, I didn't. I was just hoping you didn't say mystery there. That would have.
Yeah, I choose my words wisely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, no. Like I said, we're having fun. We're having a good time.
yeah,
But what I was saying was growth is fun, and
yeah,
it just like I was saying, you fix the sales issue. Now you've got you have a bottleneck in projects, and so growth is just trying to foresee those challenges and alleviate the pressures, but then it causes other pressures, and so you're always in this state of fixing, and that's okay. That's a
yeah.
good thing. It definitely could be. It could be worse. But yeah, we're merging with other MSPs. I mean, acquiring is one word. Yeah, we can acquire, but we're also merging as well. That's kind of the primary focus, where MSPs can roll equity into IT partners, and we can build this together. And so that's kind of the primary motive of what we're doing. So yeah, we're out there on the road educating. That's fun. There's so much wisdom and knowledge to share and to go around. Um, it's rare that we run into an actual competitor. I wouldn't say that we have competitors just because there's so much business to go around.
Sure.
So yeah, when we're on the road, it's we're just sharing the knowledge, and if we can help somebody else grow and forecast some of those mistakes that we made along the way, that's a win. That's a huge win.
Yeah. We'll get to some of these unique concepts of how to either merge or acquire, and some of this. There's a lot of different ways to kind of figure this game out, right? It's either acquire and be really integrated. There's acquire, be hands off. There's all kinds. But let's go back because I think when I was reading kind of some of the notes, getting prepped. So you knew you want to be self-employed at age 14. How does one know at age 14 they want to be self-employed?
That's a pretty specific number. No, I just
Yeah,
I just remember freshman year of high school. It's like I just wanted do stuff myself. So I had spun up this little computer repair business on the side when I was a freshman in high school, and just knew that that was just kind of my, what I always wanted to do. Um, I definitely worked for some people along the way, and have been actually self-employed since age 19. Um, and yeah, it's been fun. So what I tell the team often is the largest company that I've ever been in charge of is the one that I'm in right now, and every day as we add another dollar, that's now the largest company I've ever been, you know in charge of. So it's
Amen.
definitely a humble blessing for sure.
That's awesome. What was there a specific role model, or is there, what was the catalyst, or what was the trigger to, I want to
Ah,
be self-employed. I want to do things on my own. Did you have, you know, uh,
I
any
just feel
entrepreneurial guidance?
I just feel like it's in my DNA. My dad, first generation immigrant, from Iran,
Mm,
came to the country. Is just one of those American success stories that you hear often. He had $235 when he came here.
wow.
His family had to put their entire farm, that they had, as collateral, for him to go to college in the U.S., to ensure that he would come and use that U.S. education back in Iran. Revolution happened, and
Mm,
they kind of forgot about that collateral, if you will. And so
yeah.
he met my mom here and stayed. So he's just got that immigrant grit. He worked for, had careers, pretty much my whole growing up, but then bought a business at one point, ran that, it sold it to bought this failing waste management company, and then ended up selling that to waste management. So I I it's just, I just feel like it's in my DNA. I don't know another way.
There, that's really fascinating, and I know people. I know there's probably books written about this, but the the wave of Persian or Iranian immigrants right around the revolution is not just only fascinating just because of, all the historical context of it, but the entrepreneurial, I guess, avenues that were opened up or created by a lot of the Iranians that came over, not just to the US, but elsewhere. I mean, how entrepreneurial they had to be at that point. I mean, that's, I don't know, I'm sure there's books written about it, but it's incredible how many people you run into that have that kind of that story, that
Hmm.
background, and how much of influence throughout the 80s and 90s, and obviously today, that's had on entrepreneurship and just small business in general in the States. I mean, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of his friends growing up. A lot of them business owners, and leaders in their own organizations and things like that. So I don't know what it is, but maybe it's cultural, or something else. But
Mm,
I think there's so many different segments,
yeah,
not just Iranians. There's just that immigrant mentality.
yeah,
When you're talking to Robert Herjavec, his story is, his dad came over and they did kind of the same thing.
yeah, yep, yeah. No, that's fascinating. Also, I guess read up on you that at some point you wanted to be a pilot, right, or fly Air Force One. Right?
Well, one of your prep questions is, what did you want to do as a kid? And,
Yeah,
and
mm,
as a kid, that was it. It was I don't know, till like age 10, I was obsessed with wanting to join the Air Force and fly the president around. But that was
wow.
that was just like, some kids are firemen, some kids are pilots, and I wanted to be a pilot for Air Force One.
Maybe I shouldn't say it publicly, but one of my neighbors happens to be in and around that area of occupation. So maybe I don't know. Not
Really?
that you'd ever go, yeah, not that he would be able to get you on Air Force One, but yeah, it's fascinating to hear some of the stories.
Oh, I'm
So maybe
sure.
I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to
Let's
open up.
connect offline.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So got this entrepreneur bug. 19 kind of started kind of your first, business. And then obviously you've been just, grinding away, building and building and building. And you had a really interesting inflection point, I guess last year, right? I guess with the first of I guess many mergers or acquisitions, right? And kind of building up the business. Let's get into that. Like, tell me what that was like.
Well, yeah, I mean, it started, gosh, 2022. We interviewed probably about 35 private equity firms, just trying
Mm,
to figure out what do we want to do. Do we want to fold into something else, or do we want to do it ourselves? Obviously, the answer was we want to do it ourselves. We're not private equity backed, which is really unique in this space. In
yeah.
this space of roll-ups, because most of the peers and colleagues that I speak with, they are private equity backed. Nothing wrong with that. Private equity's
Mhm.
done such amazing things for the MSP space. It's brought a lot of attention to it. It's driven up all of our collective values, so we can
Yeah.
all be grateful for that. So definitely nothing wrong with private equity, but as we were looking for the right fit and we just didn't find it, and we have our reasons why we didn't find it. Yeah, part was just we have a business plan that's centered around our partner experience, and our culture. There were other people that matched that, but maybe didn't match the right terms that we wanted, or were looking for. So yeah, we ventured in to do it ourselves. We wanted to do two transactions last year. We ended up doing one. One of them fell through kind of in the 11th hour. This year, we're on track to do four.
Wow.
Next year, six is our goal, and then 10 a year from there. So we have a pretty aggressive strategy, finding the right partners to come alongside of us to be able to support that vision, and the right mix of business owners that can kind of see the vision that we have, that we're merging in and that are rolling equity in, to be able to help us achieve that, has been fun. It's been, like I said in the beginning, it's been a really good time.
Yeah, one of the things I enjoyed over the last couple of years since I've gotten to know you and watching, IT Partners is that you guys do have it looks like a really fun culture. The way you guys present the business, the way you guys go to market. Obviously, you're out there speaking, connecting with a lot of people, and it seems like, I mean, we kind of talked about this in Chicago. Was it last week or so when we did the first M&A roadshow? Talked about this really interesting dynamic that's occurring right now, where a lot of MSPs, I think the stat was the average MSP in the room when we did that M&A event was founded in 2006, and so they're almost 20 years
I
on.
was
And
fascinated by that stat.
yeah, it was pretty wild, and it kind of reinforced some of my thinking, in that we're at this point, serious inflection point for a lot of business owners in this space, right, where they're saying, all right, I'm 15, 20, 25 years on, it's kind of run its course. I'm looking to do something next, either be a part of something bigger or just exit completely. And then if you look at kind of culture, and you look at growth, and just where some of these MSPs in this market are moving fast, and just doing really cool stuff. I have to imagine those conversations that you have with some of the prospects, right? The companies that are looking to be acquired. I imagine that plays a lot into it. The culture that you guys have built, and kind of the excitement and the energy around what you guys do, and how you guys are going to market.
Yeah, I want to kind of talk about that in a unique way. Um, and so what what kind of started this where we're at today? I I wasn't always having fun in business. I mean, 14 of the 17 years that I was in business, I hated it. When I say hated it, I wouldn't change anything. It's all that I knew, but I didn't realize how stressed and burnt out I was
Yeah.
until I was able to. There's that adage in business: Are you running the business, or is the business running you? Well, for 14 years, the business was running me. I was not running the business,
Yeah.
and that was the stress. Once we reached a turning point, we realized, and started to invest time into building this strategy that we're on. What we realized is we're looking to help business owners that are kind of in that same, or were in that, are or were or close to that same um, area of the business running them, in that maybe under $5 million in revenue range, and that 5, 10, 15, 20 employees. That similar story. It's like, okay, I'm really good at fixing computers. I call it the accidental business owner.
Yeah.
So the I'm really good at fixing computers. I love helping people. I'm really good with technology, and so they got too busy, and so they needed to hire an employee so to help them out. So they hire an employee, and now they got to do HR. They got to do payroll. They got to do all these things. It's like, well, I really like helping people with the technology, and now I got to do all this other stuff, the
Yeah.
finances, and being able to be part of something bigger collectively, like what we're doing. We're allowing these business owners to find to use an EOS term, the right person in the right seat. So
Mhm.
hey, here's something that you're really good at and you love doing. Great, own that area. And we've got the people that love doing the finance, love doing the HR, love doing all this other stuff. uh, and great, they stay in those lanes and own those, and we can have business owners own the lanes that they really enjoy doing and get back to what they love and relieve a lot of that stress.
Yeah, there's, having been through, several acquisitions now, there is something really liberating about, and I straddle that kind of that line of being an operator and then wanting to be out there and be, the personality and out front and all what have you. But sometimes I gotta, yeah, kind of keep my operational, I don't know, aspirations in check. But there is something very, I think, liberating when you get to the point and you realize that, you know, you spent the last 20 years doing everything, and you might be doing everything, okay, right? But
Yep.
after through acquisition, if you're able to focus on one or two really like specific things and kind of passions, and push the other stuff aside, and being part of a bigger organization, it's I mean it's very liberating. I think that's you always look for kind of that cultural alignment, and you really try to have that, I guess phrase, come to Jesus, before the acquisition, to make sure that there's going to be cultural alignment after acquisition, and it's everyone's kind of on the same page moving forward. But yeah, I think that's often really underestimated, is in kind of that post acquisition, and the potential liberation that it creates for the company that's being acquired, because you're being absorbed into something larger. To your point, better operations, documentation, you got all the infrastructure set up. And so I imagine, when you're going through that process, you're having pretty deep conversations with the business owners about, life after acquisition.
I talked with 3 companies yesterday. Actually, I had 3 meetings yesterday, that were all kind of newer into uh, entertaining the idea of partnering with us. And so, that's what I spent a lot of my time doing. And what I told each one of those 3 yesterday, to that point, is most of my time is, I put on the hat, and I am not a therapist. I don't even play one on TV. I'm not that good. But a lot of my time spent is focusing on what is it that you love doing and what is it that you are good at. And we also want to focus, what do you not like doing and what are you not good at, and finding the right spot and helping those owners understand what does it look like after a merger, and what does their role look like, and being really clear, because a lot of times they've never thought that way. They're so used to operating the business, the entire business. So to think, wait a minute, there's a way that I don't have to do all these things that I don't enjoy doing. Like for me, I can do the day to day. I'm not good at it, but I can do it, and I'm exhausted by it. And I understand the day to day, but there's people that are better out there than I am at that, and so realizing that we can use each other's strengths in what we're good at has just been, it's really eye opening when you start to present the over time. The
Mhm.
I probably meet with the owners 10 times before we get under a contract, for an LOI contract, and probably 6 of those times is talking about what does their role look like, and what is, the nit and gritty, and then maybe only two of those conversations are about price, and two more about miscellaneous stuff. So yeah, most of it is exactly that, what you were talking about, Kev.
Yeah, well, look, I mean that comes from experience, right? That's one, that self awareness of what you are good at and what you should be doing, is that only comes with experience, right? And having the cool thing is that you've been on both sides of the table, right? You've been you know kind of the solo operator, and then now you're kind of bringing in, kind of looking at it from the operator's point of view, but then as part of a larger organization. And I think that's a great spot to be in, because you can empathize with the decisions that they have to make, or they're contemplating going through this process. So you guys have a pretty aggressive strategy this year, right? 3 or 4 acquisitions, and then you're looking out into 25 and 26. And we talked about some of the stuff up in Chicago, but you know this market's projected to have a really healthy compounded annual growth rate. You're up above 10, 12, even some are putting it at like 15%, year over year. So for you, what does that look like in 2, 3 years? Is it 4 acquisitions a year? Is it, hey, we're going to get to, we have a strategic kind of acquisition model, we want one over here on the West Coast, one over here on the East Coast? What does IT Partners look like in 3 years?
Yeah, yeah, good question. We have a pretty clear 3-year roadmap. We want to have, at the end of 3 years, have completed a total of 20 acquisitions, and
Wow.
so mergers or acquisitions. And so that's what that would look like, as a cumulative total. We want to, be in 10 major metros, as well. So it doesn't need, like, our acquisition targets don't need to be in a metro, but we want 10 of those to be in a major metro, 10 of the 20. Um, we can play on economies of scale and other things there. We want to remain a culture focused company as well in 3 years. We've also got some fun vision items in there too. What the driving force, on what we do is just around positively impacting people, so that it starts with our team here. When it starts with our team, we can make a really good impact on our team. Then we can make a really good impact on our partners, um, and kind of exude that culture out to them. And if we're doing those two things right, hopefully we're making a lot of money in the process, and then we can, impact the outer ring, and that's the community. And so our long term vision past 3 years just has one thing on it, that we want to do $1 million a year in community support. We don't
Wow.
have a revenue goal. We don't have, a bottom line goal. We don't have anything else. It's just $1 million a year in impacting the community, and we're doing some fun stuff around there, so we can make a lot of money, and support our team, and so hopefully support our teams well, but also, make an impact, around us, at the same time.
Yeah, talk about, that's a one hell of a statement on culture there. I mean, that's fantastic. All right, so that's a couple questions. So you're an MSP, you're looking to potentially be acquired or raise money, or what have you, looking at different paths or outcomes. You know, what does that process or timeline look like? Is it, can it be accomplished in 30 days? Does it take 3 years? And, you know, what does it take to get to the point where you're ready to entertain those conversations?
For for us. So yeah, one of my biggest focuses right now is trying to find the right financing partner. We have a financing partner now that'll get us through the end of the year, to finance these acquisitions.
Mhm.
And I've been spending since, December of last year trying to find the right financing partner, to
Mm.
be able to take us, for the rest of that runway that we're looking at. We don't want to
Yeah.
keep making a change, and so that's what I spend a lot of my time in right now doing. We estimate that maybe in 4.5 years time. So we have, kind of a 5-year plan that we're in May now. So a half a year into. So 4.5 years time, that will probably be the time that we need to take on private equity or
Mm.
something, in exchange for, shares of our company, out that are outside of the collective owners, which will
Mhm.
also allow us as owners to get additional money off the table. But that's what we estimate as our runway is probably 4.5 years, and then probably another transaction would happen at the 8-year mark from now.
Yeah, and I think I think it's really interesting kind of looking out that far because the idea that you're bringing on 20 acquisitions, but the valuations at that point, 'cause, there's healthy valuations in general in the marketplace, but if you're at that scale with 20 mergers or acquisitions underneath you, the valuation at that point and the multiples and kind of the outcome for all those involved, I mean, that could be pretty significant.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we hopefully or everything's what are those ads you see is like past results are not indicative of future performance. So there's my disclaimer. But
Right.
hopefully we're growing, and so
Yeah.
the MSPs that are rolling in equity today at today's valuation, we're yeah, I just did a scenario. We're looking to at today's valuation when we look to take on private equity in 4.5 years, we're looking to be 7.4 times today's valuation when we
Mm.
look to do that. So. Uh, and probably a bad reference point because nobody likes multi-level marketing. But I'm in Grand Rapids. It's the land of Amway. It's where Amway was founded. It's actually their headquarters is right down the road here. So to use a horrible multi-level marketing reference, get in early and you make more money.
Right.
That's kind of the approach right now that we're doing.
It is what it is, right? So give me that one nugget for the MSP owner, if they're again thinking about going down this path or process. So one thing, what's the first thing they need to do with their business before they go down this process?
You're talking about like merging into us, or if they wanted to execute a plan like what we're doing.
No, just yeah, whether they want to merge or whether they want to be raise money or
Yeah.
what advice do you have for an MSP that's trying to get their house in order?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think you'll hear it often from a lot of the people that you've talked to as well on the podcast. Uh, get your financial house in order. So if you're a business owner that's running what is termed in our industry the lifestyle business, that you're the sole owner. And you're running a lot of personal transactions through the business. Yeah, great. You might be saving some on taxes, but that's going to also impact your valuation. Now, any company like ours can give you credit for those personal expenses back. They're called add backs.
Mhm.
That's those are always an option there. But the less that you have to sift through the financials and you can say, hey, here's a clean set of books, that's going to be much better looking for somebody than not having that. Now if
Yeah.
you're looking to raise money, then I'm going to triple down on my advice. A clean set of books is paramount if you're looking
Yeah.
to do any sort of capital raises or venture on a plan like this. I've talked to uh, actually last week. I talked to right after the show in Chicago that we were at together, your M&A roadshow. Um, which is also I'm going to make a plug. We were just talking in the green room right before we jumped live on this. The content that you guys had at that show was great, and I know you have another one coming up. So shameless plug for your one in Costa Mesa,
Thank you very much.
California. But if you're an MSP looking to evaluate what that looks like, if I was in the audience 2 years ago and I saw what I saw, I would be way more ahead than where I'm at today. And so, um, listen to those experts that are on stage. You're going to hear a lot about talking about your financial house and getting that in order and what that looks like. And maybe that's not you as an owner. For a lot of years, that wasn't me as an owner. But there's other people out there that are good at that stuff and can advise you. You don't have to be great at it as an owner to have great financials. You just find the right partner to be able to help you, or
Yeah.
employee if you're big enough to hire a dedicated financial. A lot of people have their spouse running their finances, and their spouse doesn't have a background in finances. But it kind of checks a box. Hey, I can pay my spouse, this salary, and it makes sense on taxes. But you're really not running a business at that point. You're running um, I don't want to use the word charity, but what help me out here with the word, but you're running a
No,
lifestyle business,
it's
really.
like, yeah, that's it. It's a lifestyle business, and it's kind of mom and pop, and
Mhm.
yeah, for some there's nothing wrong with that, but
Yeah, there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
But if
but
you're thinking about exiting, you gotta and you want more money for your exit, you gotta start doing this stuff 3 years ahead. When I
yeah,
sold my first company, and Kev, I'd love your input too, but when I sold my first company, um, we prepped for that for 3.5 years because our books were crap, if for lack of a better term. And so when we said, "Hey, we want to sell," we got a valuation, and we're like, absolutely not." And it's not
right,
that we grew a ton in that time to get the valuation that we wanted. We spent because we needed a track record
yeah,
of clean, good numbers that showed good profit, and so we pulled the personal expenses out. We redid our P&L to a lot of little changes like that, but we had to get a good you had to get a lot of history to be able to get the valuation that we wanted.
yeah. Look, I mean, every business that I've been involved with, or advised, or invested in, or what have you. I mean, that's the first thing that you look for. You look at, obviously there's different models. You know, there are different ways to run the books, different levers that you pull, whether it's services versus software. But yeah, that's one of the first things. And I was going to say, there's some really fantastic fractional um, CFO types out there that are starting to pop up on this in this marketplace. In fact, my CFO from ID Agent try to wrangle him back into the channel program, but by the time that we got our feet off the ground, he'd already started a fractional CFO business, and he does phenomenal work with software companies and MSPs. So there are some great resources out there, and that might be a great intermediary step for MSPs to get their house in orders before they can afford to bring somebody on full time. Or for some, it might just be the move is bring somebody external and get the economies and what have you. But yeah, I agree with you. I think getting kind of the financial house in order, and then looking out maybe 18 months, 24 months, in some cases, depending on complexity, 3 years as the target to be acquired. So that's yeah, a lot of things to think through from that perspective. But so you guys are moving ridiculously fast. You guys are out in the forefront. You're probably one of the most connected gentlemen in the MSP industry. So for that, I thank you for your time this morning. And I'm gonna continue to watch you guys grow and on this acquisition and roll up strategy you guys have. So it's been a pleasure chatting with you, sir, this morning.
Oh, thanks
And
for having us on, Kev. I appreciate it very much.
absolutely, we'll have some links to how you can connect with Kevin and IT Partners Plus in the show notes. But it definitely connect with Kevin, because if you got questions about the process, I think this is one of the great things about this industry is that the willingness to have a conversation and
Oh,
educate.
just share
Your
knowledge. Yeah, if I could help in any way,
Yep.
absolutely. Hey, before we go, one shameless plug here. That's
Please.
something a little bit different. We're doing some IT Partners is doing some incredible work in Uganda, and I have the privilege of leaving actually on Friday in a couple days from now, and bringing a couple people from our team over there to install some computer labs for people that just don't have access to technology. And
Yeah.
we're partnered with some really cool resources. They just had their one of the schools just had their roof torn off in like a dust up.
Wow.
And IT Partners is doing a 2-to-1 match right now. We've got some budget left for that. If you go to givebutter.com/ITPAR, givebutter.com/ITPAR. So my shameless plug is if you're wanting to donate and look at the story on what we're doing, take a look at that website there.
Nothing shameless about that, and glad to plug that, and we'll definitely put those in the notes as well. And again, that's the cultural alignment, man. That's the stuff we're talking about. That's just great stuff. So keep up the great work.
Cool. Thanks, Kev. Hey,
All right,
pleasure.
buddy. Yep. Thank you.